in the city. Simply post your resume and provide information about yourself. Visit our website to learn more and apply. www.neworleansteacherjobboard.org.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has removed all 17 members of the CDC's Vaccine Advisory Panel, citing conflicts of interest. Dr. Ashish Jha, Dean of Brown University's School of Public Health, is concerned.
If this committee stops recommending vaccines, insurance won't cover it anymore, people will not get it. It will have a real impact on people's access to vaccines.
Critics warn the move could undermine vaccine trust. No replacements have been named as of yet. Black Mayor Eric Adams says there's no need for the National Guard in New York City, unlike LA, where troops were deployed amid ICE protests. Mayor Adams says the NYPD can handle demonstrations and the city has more officers on the ground. And rapper Eminem is suing Meta, claiming the company used his music without permission on apps like Reels Remix. Filed by his music company 8 Mile Style, the suit seeks $110 million in damages. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Good morning, wake up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK.
Good morning. Wake up, New Orleans. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to the Good Morning Show. I'm your host, Dr. Ashan Sawai. Shout out to my super producer, Nara Sanders. It's Wednesday, y'all. We halfway through this thing. I don't know how your Tuesday went, but mine was busy, and I'm going to tell you all about it. I know some important meetings happened on yesterday. Wish I could have made it, but I'm going to tell you where I was when I left work on yesterday. I had a very busy day on yesterday. There's some things I want to talk about. So, number one, I went over to Criminal District Court when I left work yesterday because I needed to be there in support of a family member. But I just want to talk to you about my experience there. So I was in court, and there was some young lady sitting behind me in the row behind me, and I'm certain, as most families, some of my family members could not be in court because they either work jobs that they could not get away from, or they've already taken off so many times that they can't. But whatever the case may be, I was asked to be there, and I was there. And I was there at the time that the court said to be there. And the young lady behind me, she was getting agitated about just sitting and waiting because she had to be somewhere, and she needed it to start on time. And, you know, I empathize with that because not many of us can just take off and sit idly and just wait until systems, you know, decide that they want to start work. And the young lady made the point of saying if I had been late for court, you know, they would have been, you know, I'm gonna use the word sanction because I know that's what she meant. You know, just get, you know, I would have been in trouble, that, you know, things would have happened to me, but nothing happens when the court doesn't operate the way the court is supposed to operate. So that begs the question, how is the court supposed to operate, right? So she and I were engaging in the conversation, and I said it's inconsiderate, you know, to tell someone that something is going to start at that time. And not only does it not start at that time, so everybody that's waiting for that time is going to have to be pushed back. Right. So I was just talking about how inconsiderate it is. And I just wish systems considered folk are already in fiscal constraints, emotional constraints, being in a courtroom. Right. There's a woman in the front pew. There were two women in the front, not pew, but row in front of me. One of them didn't say anything, but the other one, wearing her DA's lanyard around her neck, decided to turn around and ask me, what's inconsiderate? Now, let me remind you that I was not talking to her. I was having a private conversation with the lady behind me, which means I was turned around facing her, talking to her. And the lady in front of me turns around and she says, what's inconsiderate? I said, it's inconsiderate to have folks sitting when they're waiting on a process to happen and it doesn't happen. I actually explained what I meant by what was inconsiderate. because you have to know that I was going to go there with her. And so she responded by telling me, well, justice is slow. And so I chuckled for a second because that was me allowing God to come in and check me and grab my tongue because I already know what type of time I was on. I chuckled and I said, so you telling me justice is slow somehow negates what I said about the inconsiderate nature of systems? I said most of these people are already at or below the poverty line. So missing work to come sit in a courtroom that doesn't honor their time or be considerate of the nature of why they're there is inconsiderate. Need I say more? You know, kind of like the inconsiderate nature of you butting in a conversation that don't have not a thing to do with you to defend a structure that seemingly works for you, since you think telling me justice is slow is somehow a rational response to what I was saying. I need not have to tell you that she wasn't a black woman, because if she was, she probably would have joined in the conversation talking about the inconsiderate nature. But since you want to be a soldier on a battlefield for the system, I said, girl, I'm going to talk about you tomorrow when I go on the air. She said, oh, you the, and I said, yes, I am. She said, oh, I think what you do is so dope. That's the word she used. And I laughed at her because get out of my face with that. And I hope you listening, woman, because I don't even know your name. I didn't even think to ask you, but you work across the street from criminal district court. That's where your office is. That's what you told me. But it just speaks to how we're having different experiences in New Orleans, right? As a black woman, I'm having a gripe with another black woman about the inconsiderate nature of the judicial system for black people. And this white woman literally turned around and told me, what's inconsiderate? Well, justice is slow. Is justice slow? Are we making it slow? Because I don't see a reason not to start something on time when you tell somebody to be somewhere at that specific time, and that same person could be in trouble if they're not there at that specific time. Don't you think that that's an appropriate give and take? Nobody's asking for anything. We're asking for the system to respect us in the way that we are asked to respect the system. But because you work for said system, you thought it was appropriate to turn yourself around and jump into my conversation, and I thought I was being nice, indulging you. And then she told me, because this is why I really went there, y'all, and told her that I was going to be on the radio and talk about it. Because before I said that, she told me when I said, you know, what I deemed to be inconsiderate, that lady literally said to me, well, maybe you should write a letter to the editor. I said, excuse me, editor? She said, yeah, at the newspaper. I said, I don't need to write no letter to the editor. I got a mic and I'm going to talk about it. And I hope you should listen. And she asked me the station and I told her. And I actually told her what time I was going to talk about it because I came here with it on my mind to talk about her. Because it lends itself to every foundational thing that I talk about on this show. We are having two separate experiences from people who flew here when we grew here. That's what we have, in two separate experiences. That's why they call it NOLA, because they don't know New Orleans. That's why they call it NOLA, because in their mind, NOLA works for them. New Orleans don't work for us. That's the problem. That's the problem. That's the problem. And then when outside entities like the state government start to put its nose in our local business, we're uncomfortable because I'm uncomfortable with it. But see, it's stuff like this that puts their nose in our business because we're not handling our business for our people the right way. Yes, you're in a position to ensure that the checks and balances work. Yes, you're in a position to hand down accountability, and we respect you for it. We're not asking you to do anything for us outside of the scope and sequence of your duties. You're supposed to uphold the law. Yes, do that. But how about putting a little equity in that thing? That's all we're asking for. I know that's all I'm asking for. Nobody wants you to do anything for us. We don't need any handouts. We're not asking you to give us anything. What we're asking you to do is, if the system works for those people over there and it's doing well for them, then why can't it work for those people over there and it do well for them? And it's the same system. Help me out. Because that is why white folk could turn around so boldly and tell you about justice in your city. That's why they could turn around so boldly and tell you to write a letter to the editor, because that worked for her. Picking up a pen or getting on her computer, griping about what ain't working in her city works for her. But let me not tell you about all the times I had to send emails about a system that ain't quite working for us. because she thought that that was a magic bullet. You should write a letter to the editor. Kind of like them 3 white women that went over there and had that meeting about those children making noise in their school because it was interrupting her Zoom meeting. You see what folk can do when they look the part, when they have the privilege, when they're rooted in power? Because it was sheer audacity that made her turn around and talk to me the way she spoke to me. But I bet you she won't do it again, not to me. She might do it to somebody else, but you're not going to come at me like that, my girl. You best come correct talking to me about a system that I grew. This is my city, girl. You ain't got to tell me nothing about justice. And damn sure don't tell me nothing about how slow it is, because we know. We do. Write a letter to the editor. Girl. I just felt like having some fun with you this morning because you represent the very thing we're talking about when we talk about equity, when we talk about systems, when we talk about race. That's what we're talking about. But everybody like to say, oh, Ashanta, why you make everything about race? No. The system makes everything about race. I just happened to peep it out and tell you about it. That's all. I didn't make the rules. I'm just reading out loud the fine print for you so you understand that the rules are not uniformed in your black city with all this black leadership for black people. And all they could tell us is justice is slow. You should write a letter to the editor. Why you sitting in a place trying to interface with a system that is supposed to work for you? Hanaran? How many places can have an expectation of a time and you don't show up at that time and you're not penalized for it? But then that same place could not show you the same respect of showing up at that time. They're not penalized for it. That's the only point we were making privately, because we were not having a group discussion. This was not a group project. Nobody asked you for your input, Miss Lady who worked for the DA. Because, see, you thought that laying around your neck and your white privilege and your position over there across the street gave you the right to interject yourself in my conversation, and you were loud and wrong. Well, here I am, baby girl, writing a letter to the editor like you asked me. And then as I'm talking, the black lady that's on the same row with me begins to tell me about how she got kicked out the same courtroom because somebody behind her was talking and the deputy just went off and threw her out without even allowing her to say that wasn't me talking. Why do we treat our people that way? Why? I don't understand. Because the reason why I'm saying this is because as I was getting ready to leave out the courtroom, the person who I went there to see and to support, I made certain, because I knew his eyes was going to follow the attorney. So I know I can't talk in court. So I just patiently waited for his head to turn around, because I knew when the attorney got up, his head was going to turn around toward where I was. And I just simply blew him a kiss. And the deputy sitting at the door, keep it moving, like he started talking to me as if I'm not human. Oh, but baby, keep it moving. I stopped dead in my tracks. I said, I heard you the first time, and I'm going. And he said it again. And I said, who are you talking to? Because, see, I don't understand why humanity leaves us when we put on white folk uniforms. I just don't understand that. Huh? You put that uniform on with that badge and that gun, and you thought that you could talk to me like I'm less than a person when I'm not breaking any rules up in here. I didn't say a word. I literally blew a kiss. That's it. And I'm headed toward the door. Didn't disrupt none. Judge wasn't offended. What's your problem? Why you wake up with white supremacy on your mind? Let me go keep them in line over there. I don't understand it. I really don't. Why are we like this with each other? When we got all of these other things we're fighting against, we got to fight each other too. You wearing the uniform for representation. You wearing a uniform so you don't react to me the way they react to me, because we're asking for representation, because it's supposed to give us a modicum of respect and decency because we have one of us in their uniform. But that don't work, because it seems like when y'all put the uniform on, y'all lose y'all blackness and now y'all just straight blue. In this case, Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office. I don't understand it. Why? It doesn't take anything to talk to somebody with humanity in your voice, with dignity in your voice. They're already in a system where they're terrified, a judicial system where 9 times out of 10 it ain't gonna work for them anyway, even though they saying with liberty and justice for all, we don't fit into the all, but when we have us representing them, why we can't get a little bit of respect from us? I'm just confused. Oh, but you're not gonna talk to me like that at all. On no level and in no uniform will you disrespect me that way, sir. Because God forbid you trade places with the very people that you're dehumanizing. And now you're going to all of a sudden be looking for us to extend the humanity and grace that you couldn't give to us, black man. It's just crazy. You know how you just go through life trying to exist in a space. And you run into all of this oppression. And certain people you expect it from. Certain people, it's in their nature. Certain people, it's in their ancestry. But then when you run into somebody that mirrors your father or your uncle or your brother, and he talking to you like y'all on a plantation, and he the overseer, I have a problem with that. Black man. Because it costs nothing to be kind. It doesn't take away from your authority to be kind. I mean, after all, we in a courtroom. I mean, not much could take place up in there. You already got the power just by way of you being in the uniform and us being the civilian. How much power do you need to make up for the fact that you probably didn't make your school basketball team, and now you got a uniform, and now you want to take out all that aggression on folk? It ain't my fault. I made the basketball team and the volleyball team and the track team and the softball team. It ain't my fault that you ain't make the team, black man. But please don't ever play in my face talking to me like I'm nothing, or talking to me like I don't require dignity and humanity because I'm inside of your structure. Not yesterday and not today, and it won't be tomorrow. And here's the other thing. I wouldn't have even allowed you to talk to anybody like that. It didn't have to be me, because I would have asked you, why did you have to speak to her that way? I mean, she's walking, just blowing the kiss, like what? Like people go to court, and that might be the only time they see a loved one. Because folk ain't got no time to be visiting no jail and putting money in no commissary. We can't afford it. We living in poverty. So that might be the only time I got to see my person. I don't know, but you ain't going to strip me of my dignity and my humanity. You will not, on no level, ever do it. Because I'm going to check you every time. And I'm going to check you with the humanity that you didn't extend to me, because I ain't have to talk loud to you. I say, I heard you the first time. That's what I said to you. You didn't have to keep saying it over and over and over and over again. I heard you. But I also heard what you represent. You might want to check that. That's what you might want to do. But that was my experience with criminal district court yesterday. I got more to talk about, and I hope y'all want to listen, because there's some things I'm going to jump into after the break, like keys allegedly being on the streets of New Orleans from the Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office, and how I found out about that information. Y'all stay with us right here, WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about all day long.
Good morning and happy Wednesday. I'm Morgan Lentis with WDSU News, and here's a look at today's headlines. The New Orleans Police Department is investigating a shooting from overnight in Central City. It happened around 10:45 near the intersection of St. Andrew Street and Simon Boulevard Avenue. Detectives say a woman was shot. She was transported by EMS to a local hospital for treatment. There's no word on her condition at this time. Then the latest NOPD Citizen Satisfaction Survey is providing new insight into how safe people feel in the Crescent City. That survey found satisfaction with the police department went up 7 points from 40% last year to 47% this year. More than half of people surveyed say the city is safe, adding they think bringing in Louisiana State Police is having a positive impact. The legislative session in Baton Rouge comes to an end tomorrow, and before then, lawmakers will consider a first-of-its-kind bill that would criminalize law enforcement agencies that do not cooperate with ICE. The Senate will consider that measure today. And finally, the LSU Tigers depart Baton Rouge this morning, headed to Omaha in search of another national championship. Fans are encouraged to cheer them on as they leave Alex Box Stadium beginning at 9 a.m. The Tigers play Arkansas this Saturday at 6 p.m. Central Time. And that's a look at today's headlines. I'm Morgan Lentis with WDSU News. Have a great day.
This is the Bloomberg Black Business Beat, brought to you by FidelityWealthManagement.com. One United Bank is one of the nation's largest black-owned banks. Kevin Cohey is chairman and CEO, and he spoke to Bloomberg about how One United's embrace of new technology is a big part of how it's able to serve so many people.
The reason the company has grown so fast and we have such a large breadth of customers is because of our technology. That's what's unique about us. Our data aggregation technology is second to none, i.e. our ability to pull together all your financial information no matter where it is, so you can actually literally understand on a real-time basis where you are financially.
One United Bank is investing in AI to help enhance the digital banking experience.
Which, by the way, we've been working on for over a decade, which takes that same information and helps you to make better financial decisions on a real-time basis.
I'm Bloomberg's Justin Milliner on the Black Business Beat.
With Fidelity Wealth Management, a dedicated advisor gets to know you and your goals to build a comprehensive plan to help grow and protect your wealth. Backed by a team of specialists, they'll analyze all your accounts, even the ones they don't manage, to keep an eye on taxes and provide proactive portfolio insights that can help you unlock your wealth's full potential. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC. Member NYSE SIPC.
Now more than ever, Lowe's knows you don't just want a low price, you want the lowest price. And with our lowest price guarantee, you can count on us for competitive prices on all your home improvement projects. If you find a qualifying lower price somewhere else on the same item, we'll match it. Lowe's, we help, you save. Price match applies the same item, current price at qualifying retailers. Exclusions and terms apply. Learn how we'll match price at Lowe's.com/lowest price guarantee.
This is Monica Pierre along with Sally Ann Roberts Daybone, co-host of Your Power is On.
Tune in Sunday mornings from 7 to 8 a.m. for music that feeds the spirit. Get your Sunday on.
Right here on WBOK 1230 a.m. and WBOK1230.com, the station you listen to all day long.
Connect with NOLA Public Schools. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and X for the latest updates. Sign up for District Digest, our official newsletter where we share district achievements, celebrate student successes, and keep you informed about our vision of providing a high-quality education. And don't miss our school board meetings. Watch in person or live stream on YouTube. Stay informed, stay engaged. Visit NOLAPublicSchools.com today. Again, that's NOLAPublicSchools.com.
Hello, I'm Gary Clark. Please tune in to Dr. Clark 101, The Living Classroom, which is broadcasted weekly every Wednesday at 12:30 p.m. on WBOK 12:30 a.m. on your dial. And as always, it's been a pleasure.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 12:30 a.m.
Good morning. Wake up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK.
So why? Oh, y'all want to talk to me early and not late. I love it here. Good morning, Elwin. Welcome to the Good Morning Show.
Good morning. I had a couple of run-ins with the police myself.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want them at my house because I don't know what kind of police officer I will get. But I've had some run-ins where the police, I had two people that were staying with me. They didn't want to put them out. They told them that was my fault. I took them in, but I took them in because they was homeless. But the thing is, I knew one of them from a long time ago from the 6th grade, from kindergarten, and the other one I barely even know. but the police did not give me no justice at my house. My neighbor had to come over and run them out of the house. But the police, like I said, I had a couple of run-ins. I do not want them at my house unless it's really necessary for them to come over. But I will not let them talk to me any kind of way.
Mm-hmm. And you shouldn't have to. You should not have to. You don't give up your rights just because you're interacting with law enforcement. Like, this is what I mean about systems working. That should not be what has to happen for you to get justice, you know, in at your home, nonetheless. So I mean, I'm sorry that that's happening to you, but
if I disrespect them and smoke some marijuana in front of them, they'll put me in jail. Okay, even though it's legal.
Yeah.
But I'm saying this. But you see, they don't. They feel. I say it this way. They are undercover Ku Klux Klan. Only thing that's covering them is the uniform. I say most of the policemen are Ku Klux Klan.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I appreciate you, Elwin. Thank you for calling in, my love.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. Good morning, Pop. Welcome to the Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
How you doing? I miss you.
All right. Where your partner at this morning?
So Will is out. I believe he's in Washington, D.C. He'll be calling in on tomorrow, so we'll get to talk to him when we talk to Congressman Troy Carter.
Yeah, Dr. Wise, look, the biggest mistake, they'll remember you till they leave this planet. The biggest mistake they've made in their life is confronting you. Boy, I had to laugh. I said, Lord have mercy. They don't know.
I didn't even do that lady nothing. I just went to court like a citizen is supposed to, minding my own business. That's all I did.
I said, Jesus, I'm going to pray for him. I said, he better know what they're in for, boy. When they confront you any kind of way funny, they better, I don't know what I'm going to pray for them.
Yeah, they better not confront you funny either, Pop, because I'm going to have something to say about that, too.
Oh, Lord Jesus.
I appreciate you.
I
know
tell
that, right?
you, boy. I said, boy. I said, Dr. Wise, you stay on fire, boy.
Yeah, I mean, come on now. I'm just trying to
and
stand up for myself.
You don't be playing. I said, you let her know. I said, she said, if they're listening, they're going to say that's the biggest mistake I made in my life. To confront her.
Like, I mean, come
so
on
they're
now.
going to be careful from now on.
I hope so.
Before they confront us. How you been doing? I know I hear you. I listen to you.
Listen, I'm good.
You stay on fire.
I'm actually good, Pop. I've been in a really good place. I've been doing some speaking engagements here and there. You know.
I hear that. You know that you've been speaking around different places.
Yeah. Yes, I'm really, really good, and I appreciate you for checking up on me. Tell your wife I say hello.
All right. Okay.
Appreciate
Thank
you,
you
Pop.
very much. You have a blessed one.
Bye-bye. Listen, y'all, I am super appreciative of the WBOK listen audience. Y'all don't understand. I tell people every day, I never knew when I came here and I was guesting here, you know, that I would even have a opportunity to possibly be a co-host. Shout out to Miss Alicia too, because she thought this was gonna be good for me before I thought it would be good for me. And I promise you, I have fell in love with talking to y'all every morning. Like it's literally one of my favorite things to do every day. So please understand, and I want y'all to know something. When I'm on this microphone talking about issues, and my friend Treese could attest to this, once I talk about the issue, baby, I leave the issue and the microphone right here, and I go home and enjoy the rest of my day. I don't carry this stuff all day with me. So please don't think that I'm walking around like full of passion all the time. I'm really laid back at home, kicking it with my remote watching TV. And a friend of mine balled recently. Y'all know how I feel about crawfish. They balled recently and they bought me a huge pan of crawfish and crabs and all of the fixings. So for 2 days, I was at home eating crawfish and crabs. Y'all couldn't tell me nothing. My day was made. But yeah, but when I hear things that need to be talked about, we're going to talk about them. Larry, what you say? Good morning. Welcome to the Good Morning Show.
I don't know what to say. You know how I feel about you, Miss Wise, because you definitely won my respect.
Well, thank you.
And, you know, which was, I'm a little hard like you. Yeah. In fact, you remind me of me.
Is that right?
Yeah, when I was younger. Well, I got older. I'm still a little cantankerous. And still, look, you know what happens? I don't know where it comes from, Dr. Wise. The universe, God, Allah, wherever it comes from. When you become anointed, you don't really know about that. But if something is said out there that's not, my mother was like that. If it's for the people that don't get any person that speak in their behalf, she speaks. And you're that way. It just comes from the gut, the heart.
Yeah.
And you don't be wanting to say that, and it just comes out. You say, where that came from? Because you ain't having things to be done to people who don't get no respect.
Right.
And it could be from people who's in authorities that's black or white. You don't care. If you just respect me, who are you?
Right.
So I know it's difficult for you to hold your words. That ain't happening now. It's too late for you, girl. It's too late.
It's too late. Well, Larry, look,
I'm telling you, as an older man, sometimes it don't come up as much, Dr. Wise, but it still comes up, and you say, wow. So you keep doing what you're doing. It's going to be a blessing, and believe me, I've been around long enough to know that it's going to be something for us that's so important, because I think the world is going through a reset, and you one of them. Thank you,
Thank
darling.
you so much, Larry. Appreciate you. Listen, I know if you listen to WBOK all day long, like folks say, if you're an avid listener of the Good Morning Show, you know how me and Larry started out. And if you know how Larry and I started out, you will be clapping. I should have rung a bell when Larry was talking, because that is, to me, what growth looks like. And I think that's what love in our community should look like, because we didn't start out in agreement with each other. I don't even think Larry liked me on the radio when I first got here. But we've grown in the sense that, like, he's been able to fully hear my perspective on things, and I've been able to fully understand his perspective on things. And now we're at a place where we appreciate each other's perspectives on things. And that's all you could ever ask for. Nobody's asking for you to totally agree with everything that I say on each and every day. No, that's not what I want. That's not even what I get in my friendships. That is why my friendships, the ones, that I hold dear, are extremely important to me, because there's accountability in friendship with me. And I expect my friends to hold me accountable, and I don't shy away from that. But when my friends want to hold me accountable and there's something that I want to push back and say, I'm going to say it, because if you got me wrong, you got me wrong. If you misunderstood or you didn't allow me to provide clarity, then I'm going to clear the business for you. But that's my friendships. I don't do that for everybody. If you out there thinking whatever you're thinking about me and you don't give me the benefit of a conversation, then you go right on ahead and hold that belief, because I'm not about to come unpack it for you. I don't care. I have no care to do that. But if you respect me enough to engage in conversation with me and to say, Doc, look, you said this, but I'm trying to understand what you meant, or I heard what you said, but let me explain this part of it to you, I can respect that, and then we can engage in dialogue. But it's not my job to unpack your misbelief about me. I'm not in the business of doing that. I want to say during this segment, shout out to DJ over at Baldwin and Company. I was asked on yesterday to participate in some dialogue with Andre Perry as it relates to education, black folk, state of education, the state of black folk, that sort of thing, right up in my wheelhouse, right? And, those of you who understand the history of Andre Perry and education, I welcomed the conversation, because I wanted the opportunity to engage in conversation with somebody who I didn't always agree with, and I'm certain that he didn't always agree with my stance on things, but we had a very productive conversation. DJ shot it for his podcast. We talked over an hour. And then he had an author talk, because he has a new book that is out. I couldn't stay for the author talk because y'all do know my baby's home for the summer. And yes, I say my baby. He's 19 years old, but he is very much my baby. And I needed to get back to him. But the conversation was great, and I cannot wait until the episode comes out so we can share it with you and you can kind of see how that went. But make no mistake, I'm always on a battlefield for my community, especially my children in education. Always. There's never not a time that I'm not engaging in some sort of dialogue or some sort of gathering that centers education. And though I may not be employed in the space that I want to be employed in, I take my expertise in spaces that can help shape academic outcomes for children all the time. And so I am extremely appreciative to God for those opportunities. And but what I will tell you is, when and if I ever get a job, I'm going to share it with y'all first, because, baby, I'm going to celebrate. Because I know ain't going to be nobody but God that delivered that to me, because it's been almost 7 years. But I feel like the breakthrough is coming, and I'm waiting for it. So, yeah, shout out to DJ over at Baldwin and Company. They're doing some wonderful things around literacy that is to be admired, to be honest, especially in light of what is happening with our current government and the dismantling of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and the erasure of us in history books, and the retelling of history that does not honor our hard work and our sacrifice. So I am thankful that there's a space where Black folk can have their voices not only heard but amplified, much like they are on Bayou Road. So shout out to the folk on Bayou Road as well. But if you have an opportunity to stop by Baldwin and Company and pick up a book and immerse yourself in all of that Black excellence that is happening over there. So shout out to DJ for the opportunity. I really appreciate it. But we're going to jump into what I asked y'all, well, what I kind of prepped y'all about. So allegedly, there's some keys that are floating around that are supposedly connected to the Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office. Now, let me get my thoughts together at this moment, because I want to be very clear. I have never, nor will I ever, duck accountability, right? I believe in it. I think it's important. I think it's necessary. I think it grows us. I think it keeps us in check. I think it holds our egos in place, right? It grows humility in us. I think it does all of those things. So I'm all for accountability. Never would duck it, right? But I do believe that there is a way that we hold the line of accountability, and we do so with the level of respect that certain positions in this community require. And I'm gonna leave it right there, and you dissect that how you will. But a set of keys allegedly associated with the Orleans Parish Jail has been handed over to the state attorney general after a New Orleans City Council member claims to have obtained them from a whistleblower. Councilman J.P. Morrell posted a video claiming a whistleblower was in possession of these keys to the Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office, to the Justice Center. The Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office responded to a post on social media dispelling those claims and saying they are in possession of the jail keys, and ones shown in the video do not open the jail or a cell. To be clear, we are in possession of all the keys to the jail. The ones you're showing off don't open the jail or any cell. I will be careful with putting out misinformation to the public, especially regarding public safety and security. Now, I'm going to stop right there. Because I watched that video that JP put out. And what I will say is I am very welcoming to council folk, city officials, governmental agencies who avail themselves on social media to reach people who might otherwise not read the newspaper or, not listen to mainstream media. And by and large, most people are on social media. So I appreciate people coming down and bringing the information where the people are. So I appreciate that. And I'm going to say this again, because folk believe that two things can coexist at the same time. Two things can very well be true, right? The whistleblower could have been in possession of keys that at one point opened a jail or a cell. So we're not going to act as if that this was like a non-existent thing. Maybe there were keys that at one time opened a jail or a cell. But let's just say that you knew these keys were out in the public somewhere and you decided maybe to rekey because I can't tell you the amount of times. Aaron can tell you. My brother can tell you because he's helped me rekey my house several times. So I know that it's possible, you know, to have a key that once opened the door and it no longer opens the door. So, like, let's stop playing this misinformation game. So if those were once keys that belonged to the Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office, let's just own that, right? Yes, there were keys that this former employee or this person who once worked for us was in possession of. But those keys no longer open the current locks and jail cells at the facility. I would much rather you say that than to act as if it's just completely not true. Because the video I saw showed keys and they were labeled and things of that nature. So maybe they were once a part of the system of keys for the jail. But I just would like us to stop with all of this. Stop with all of this. And this to me, and if you feel hit by what I'm about to say, then holla. Because this feels to me like a textbook case study in making certain that your team wear the same uniform as you. We got to start picking people and putting them in positions and places that honor the relationship that the role calls for. Because where is the protection? Like, y'all got the same uniform on, but are y'all batting for the same team? To me, this is a case study in understanding that. And come on, man, on so many levels, we are supposed to be one city. And I understand that things are happening where we got to check each other. And I'm all for it. But this is a textbook case. And when you get to a position that requires you to have some modicum of power, that when you start to form your team, that there's respect for the head of the team. There's protection for the head. I just don't understand how all of these things are happening and the responses are not such that we're owning our stuff, but we're also clarifying. But we can't clarify with misinformation or untruth. Like, those keys had to at least at some points been a part of that system of keys. Maybe they're not now. So that's what you say. That's what you say. But you stoke the fire when you pretend or when you act as if everything that has been said is a fallacy. You stoke the flames of disbelief in people, because even I don't believe that. And I want to look at things very rationally, you know, with a clear eye, no bias on it. I want to look at things like that. I owe it to the responsibility of what I do here to do that. And I have respect for the council, and I have respect for the Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office. I have respect for the leaders on the council, and I have respect for the leader at the Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office. So why can't we just look? Yes, there was a person, we separated, we terminated the employment. The keys were still in that person's possession. So we rekeyed the locks, or we replaced the locks, or whatever it is that you have to say. But please don't tell us that those keys were never once a part of the system of keys, because they're labeled individually. I just want a government that honors the roles and responsibilities that they are in possession of, in terms of what we do for community. And all of this misinformation, all of these different points of view about the same issue does nothing but confuse the citizenry here. And people need clarity, especially in election season. And we have to just do a better job of honoring the ability of New Orleanians to think. I think these folk, a lot of y'all think these people, we can think. And when we have questions, we want clear, concise answers. We don't want the Trump effect of talking all around an issue. You got to say yes or you got to say no. If you say yes and explain to us why, so yes, that's what we want. But there's too much misinformation out there, and we don't know who to believe at this point. We're going to keep talking about it, and I hope you keep listening. I got to go to break, but when I come back, here's the number, 504-582-9422. Tell me what you think. Whistleblower, keys that belong to the jail. The Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office said, those are not our keys. They didn't belong to us. There are no keys in your possession that open any of these locks. Call me. Let's have a conversation. 504-582-9422. I'll be right back. This is WBOK, 12:30 a.m., what New Orleans is talking about all day long.
Accrue NOLA is transforming how professionals connect and grow. Join them for Fed by Accrue, a community networking celebration that honors both Juneteenth and Pride Month while celebrating the power of diverse voices in business. This isn't a typical networking. Accrue has created a safe, inclusive space where genuine connections lead to meaningful collaborations. On Thursday, June 19th, innovators from across the greater New Orleans area and the Gulf South will gather at the lab on Ursulines Ave for purposeful conversation with industry leaders and authentic relationship building that advances your professional career and business growth. Accrue connects you with established industry leaders and emerging entrepreneurs who share practical insight and business resources. These connections translate into real opportunities for career advancement and business growth. Come join a community where authenticity meets opportunity, where diverse perspectives drive innovation, and where meaningful partnerships are built to last. Fed by Accrue, Thursday, June 19th from 5 p.m. till 8 p.m. at the Lab, 2600 Ursulines Ave. Learn more and join the community at accruenola.com/RSVP.
Hey, New Orleans, look for important changes to your natural gas service. This summer, Delta Utilities takes over for Entergy Gas with a Louisiana-born, Louisiana-based approach to safe, clean, reliable natural gas. No interruptions or rate changes due to the transition, just dependable service and modernized technology to keep you running smoothly. Get to know us at deltautilities.com and stay tuned for more later this summer. Delta Utilities, focused on natural gas, committed to New Orleans.
Visit DePaul's new Algiers Health Center at 2801 General de Gaulle Drive to receive primary and preventive care for both adults and children. Services also include behavioral health, imaging, and on-site pharmacy, vision, Medicaid enrollment assistance, and more. For appointments, visit DePaulCommunityHealthCenters.org or call 504-207-3060.
Welcome to Liberty Bank and Trust, where your financial journey transforms communities. Since 1972, our customized banking solutions power your dreams and fuel your community growth. Every dollar you invest with us circles back to empower more people, ensuring opportunities for generations. Join us at Liberty Bank. Together, we empower possibility. Visit libertybank.net to start banking with purpose. Liberty Bank, there's freedom here.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Good morning, Wake Up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
And we are back. Happy Wednesday. Welcome back to the Good Morning Show. I am your host, Dr. Shanta Wyatt. And if you were tuning in prior to the break, we were talking in detail about this whistleblower assertion that they are in possession of keys that open jails or cells at the Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office. And I read part of the response from the OPSO that said, to be clear, we're in possession of all of the keys to the jail. The ones you're showing off don't open the jail or any cell. I will be careful with putting out misinformation to the public, especially regarding public safety and scrutiny. The statement goes on to say, has my office done everything perfectly? No. But let's be clear, my deputies work hard every single day and night, so I won't let you make a mockery of their work. JP, look, we get it. You don't understand the gravity of running a law enforcement agency with hundreds of staff, 24/7 operations, and a jail population of over 1,200. But this isn't some fantasy Marvel movie, JP. It's public safety. So maybe turn off the camera and take us up on the many offers we've extended to visit the jail. We'll be right here doing the work. and it's signed the sheriff. Now, it should come as no surprise that the Attorney General has weighed in, and this is what she had to say. She has directed the Louisiana Bureau of Investigations to take control of the set of keys, and they will incorporate them into the investigation. Obviously, they should know where the keys are to the jail. I've instructed the Louisiana Bureau of Investigations to take control of this particular set, and I will be incorporating this issue into our ongoing investigation. See, this is what my commentary was centered on prior to the break, and this is why I mentioned the movie Sinners. If you have not seen it, I implore you to see it. I will not give any spoilers because I know if you're like me, you wait until the hoopla is over and then you kind of watch it so that you're not listening to all of the input from folk. But I've watched the movie, and what I will say is we continue to invite people in, and when we invite them in, we're giving them the authority and the permission to have their say and their way about our business. And so for me, that is what I'm hoping every leader in the city of New Orleans hears when I talk about leadership here. Be very careful the energy and the spirits that you allow into your business, because once you allow them in, that inch you thought you were extending is going to be a mile long. And when you allow Pandora out of her box, it is very hard to put her back in. So be very careful. Be very, very careful. Because, see, I understand the art of war. I read the book. I grew up in the project. I understand the art of war. And when you believe that you know your enemy better than you know yourself, you might have a fighting chance. But if you continue to invite the enemy, yeah, the enemy, y'all watch Lean on Me? Get them chains off the door. The enemy is here. Shout out to the movie Lean on Me. That's one of my favorite movies, by the way. They call me Josephine Clark. My friends are funny. I tickle myself sometimes because I know how I process things in my head, and I know how God allows them to come out of my mouth. But I have no control over how they land on you. Like I don't know if you be picking up what I'm putting down, but I sure give it to you. And I'm hoping that you understand what I'm saying. Because the movie, the brilliant mind that created that movie, shout out to Ryan Coogler. The movie tells you there are certain things that should belong to community. There are certain conversations that you have at the kitchen table that you don't necessarily have at the RTA bus stop. Right? The cookout be sacred. Mm-hmm. There are certain things, that are in-house. And the moment you open the door and you allow the visitors to have the access that the tenants have, chaos ensues because people have forgotten their place. They don't realize that the streets don't belong to them. Schools don't belong to them. The playgrounds don't belong to them because you've invited them in to have a say. And now their voices are louder than yours. And now their resources outnumber yours. And now their crowd outnumbers yours. And you wondering how you switch places with a visitor. And you've been paying the mortgage all these years. And you've been keeping the lights on all this time. And a visitor could just come in and unplug your window unit and move it because they prefer central air. They don't want that window unit hanging out. The aesthetic is not giving what they wanted to give. But they don't know your grandmother bought you that window unit. And it means something to you. But see, it don't mean nothing to them because that window unit didn't keep them cool in the dead of summer when they were in 6th grade. And now your big mama gone and all you got is that window unit that you allowed that visitor to replace because they told you Central Air is all the rave now. Tickle me. I tell you one thing. If I invite you into my home, you better not touch my window unit. I don't have none, but you better not touch it. If I invite you into my home, then you take a seat and you mind your manners. If I invite you into my home, you don't pick up anything that doesn't belong to you. You don't leave with what you did not come with unless I so graciously give it to you. But you see, when we allow the visitors into our residence and they don't like your curtains and they tell you, girl, take the curtains down. Blinds are in. And they make Treme, you know, that historic black community look like everyday USA. It's not about blaming the visitor. It's about the person who answered the knock and say, come on in. Because certainly your ice is colder than mine. Your voice is more valuable than mine. Your eye is more clear than mine. And I've been doing this all my life. But you just got here, so clearly you know better than me. So make my community what you want it to be. And now you the visitor. Now you don't recognize 2nd and D. Huh? Now you don't recognize back of town. It looks foreign to you. That's why the East is the last man standing. That's why you better go get you some property. So you better go pull your resources because they buying up y'all block. Why they telling y'all it's too scary to live out there? Huh? The YNs, you know, that's what they call our children, the YNs. The YNs taking over out there. You don't want to live back there. You don't even want to stop at a red light in the East. You don't want to be there. And why they telling you that and selling you that fantasy, they buying up your block. The cookout be sacred. We got to go to break, but when we come back, we're going to hear from Delta Utilities CEO Tim Poche and Vice President of Marketing and Communications, Sarah McLaughlin Porters, right here, WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about all day long.
WBOK New Orleans, home of the Good Morning Show, 7 to 9 a.m. weekdays.
This news report is brought to you by New Schools for New Orleans.
New Schools for New Orleans is committed to keeping and finding great teachers for our students in Orleans Parish. If you or someone you know is interested in becoming a teacher for the 25-26 school year, let us help you. We've created the New Orleans Teacher Job Board, which is the official job platform of public schools in New Orleans. You can apply to any school in the city. Simply post your resume and provide information about yourself. Visit our website to learn more and apply. www.neworleansteacherjobboard.org.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Protests against President Trump's immigration raids are growing in Chicago. Thousands marched downtown, blocking traffic and prompting arrests. Riot police were deployed and CTA buses were halted in the Loop. Similar protests hit cities nationwide. A Black Mobile, Alabama police officer was arrested at a Disney resort and charged with kidnapping. 22-year-old David Cunningham allegedly detained a man at a Mississippi party where he had no police authority. He was arrested June 3rd in Florida. And Lalia Mae Williams of DeKalb County, Georgia, just turned 100. The lively centenarian celebrated with family in Decatur. Known for her sharp memory and independence, Williams still shops for groceries and stays active every day. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Good morning, Wake Up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
Happy Wednesday. Welcome back to the Good Morning Show. I am your host, Dr. Ashanta Wyatt. Shout out to my super producer, Naira Sanders, for doing what super producers do. Right now in studio, we have with us Delta Utilities CEO Tim Poche and Vice President of Marketing and Communications, Sarah Porteous. Good morning, lady and gentlemen. Welcome to the Good Morning Show. How you doing?
Good morning. Thank you for having us.
Oh, thank you for being here. So let's talk about the transition from Entergy to Delta Utilities, because we've talked about that on air here on the Good Morning Show. What exactly is changing for New Orleans customers this summer?
Well, not a whole lot. We Delta Utilities, we are acquiring the natural gas business from Entergy. So the customers here in New Orleans that have gas service that has previously been provided from Entergy will now be provided from Delta Utilities. So we will provide the same clean, affordable, reliable natural gas to our customers that you have been receiving from Entergy. So there will be a very smooth transition from that perspective. And we're just stepping into the shoes of Entergy in that perspective.
Delta Utilities is a Louisiana-born, New Orleans-based natural gas utility headquartered in downtown New Orleans that provides natural gas service across Louisiana and Mississippi. So, Sarah, for those who may have missed Entergy's messages, can you explain how and when this transition is taking place?
Yes, we're really excited to be here today and really excited to be a community partner. So this is going to happen this summer. We'll be acquiring the natural gas operations, as Tim said, from Entergy New Orleans. So we're very excited. Natural gas is a service that many of our residents rely on every day, to heat their homes in the winter, for generators, for all different kinds of things on a daily basis. So we're very excited to be here and be a community partner.
And we appreciate you as well. But will anything change in terms of how we pay our utility bill? Does that service change or that process change for any customers?
Yeah, that process will change. You will, beginning in July, with your July bills, you will receive a bill from Delta Utilities for the portion of the gas that you purchase from July 1st onward. And you will have the same ways and avenues to pay that bill to Delta that you exist for Entergy. So if you go into a walk-in customer service place now, you'll be able to go into a walk-in customer service place. Will be co-located at Entergy's customer service operations on Canal Street. If you pay online, you'll be able to pay online. If you go into a Walmart or another service area to pay, you'll have the same opportunities to pay your bill in the same way. So very seamless transaction from that standpoint.
And we appreciate that. And Sarah, as the Vice President of Marketing and Communications, are there any actions customers need to take to ensure continued service once Delta takes over?
Yeah, so part of the seamless transition of service means that people's natural gas would transition automatically when the sale happens. So there's nothing anybody needs to do at the time of the sale. Customers are going to get a welcome letter from Delta Utilities, and they're also going to get some instructions about how they can set up their online accounts with their first bill. And there are some programs that will require re-enrollment, like auto pay. If you're used to that, you'll have to re-enroll. Paper-free billing, if you do level billing, those things will require re-enrollment. But the main thing to know is there's nothing customers need to do to transition their service. That's going to happen automatically.
And will customers see any immediate rate changes as a result of this transition?
No. we are stepping into the shoes of Entergy and their rate structure, and so they will have the same bill that they had before with Entergy with us, and it will be very seamless perspective from that perspective. There's no additional billing as a result of this transaction.
So I've heard that Delta will use technology. So can you talk to us about how the technology is to improve the customer experience with Delta Utilities?
Yeah, well, I would say that, aging systems, legacy systems are a real challenge for utilities. So we're really excited. We're building Delta Utilities from the ground up with modern technology. So everything will be cloud-based, which basically means that it's going to evolve, as communities evolve. So we'll have customer-centric features like Track My Technician. So if somebody calls in, for service, they'll be able to better predict when their service technician is going to arrive. So we're really excited about that.
And is this a complete takeover of the natural gas, or is Entergy going to have some customers somewhere in Louisiana or Mississippi, or you have the total customer population for those two states?
Yeah, so Entergy operated or provided natural gas service to about 200,000 customers in New Orleans and in Baton Rouge.
Okay.
We're acquiring all of those assets. So we will acquire all the natural gas distribution assets that Entergy had. And we're going to do that in the beginning of July. And with that we will transfer 200 employees from Entergy that operated that business. Those employees have been offered employment with Delta. They're coming. They're going to be a critical part of operating that business with us. And back 2 months ago in April 1st, we acquired the natural gas operations in Louisiana and Mississippi from CenterPoint Energy. So we've been operating about 400,000 customers in other parts of Louisiana and throughout Mississippi since that time, and had 500 employees that transferred at that time. And we are very excited to have that business headquartered here in New Orleans.
And you mentioned something that I want to talk about. You touched it briefly, but there's been some talk of like aging infrastructure with Entergy. How is Delta addressing aging infrastructure, and what does that mean for long-term reliability as it relates to Delta Utilities?
Well, that's kind of the beauty of natural gas, right? It's a very reliable, resilient. When the electricity goes out, the gas keeps running, whether it's cold or hot. And we have done a lot to make sure that we have safe, reliable service in replacing gas lines in older parts of the city, and making sure that the gas is delivered in a very efficient and safe manner. So we're continually upgrading the system and putting additional resources into it to maintain the safety of the system.
And what steps is Delta Utilities making to ensure a smooth transition happens, not just for customers, for the Entergy employees as well?
From an employment perspective, is very important, right? I like to tell people that our biggest and most important asset that we have is not necessarily the pipes in the ground; it's the people that live here in the community, that operate the business, and that we work with. So we've offered employment to all the employees that worked in the gas business. They transitioned seamlessly, the same benefits and salary and positions. And I think that we're excited to have them. More importantly, they're excited to be a part of a very gas-centric small business.
And I think it's such an important point, because all of that institutional knowledge comes with the transition. So I think that also is part of what makes this transition seamless for customers. They're going to continue to be served by the same great natural gas team.
And my question would be, in terms of these 200 new jobs that you're adding, can you tell us about more opportunities and how locals can get more involved? Because I'm certain folk are going to want to look for job opportunities to join the team of Delta. So how does that work?
So we, in addition to the 500 employees that transferred over from CenterPoint and the 200 that'll be joining us from Entergy, we're hiring an additional 200 people here, primarily in the New Orleans area, all different types of jobs, from administrative to customer service to IT, and field service people. So we've been very active in the community and on social media, having our job requirements posted. We got a lot of great candidates both here in New Orleans, and we've been able to bring in a lot of talented people into our community that, lived and worked and served utilities elsewhere in the United States that are now making New Orleans home, which is very proud to be able to do that.
Absolutely. When it comes to marketing, Sarah, aside from visiting us at WBOK and going to some of the other news outlets, how are we giving the information to Entergy customers that there's a change that's getting ready to take place and we're welcoming in Delta Utilities? Are we utilizing social media, any mailers, anything of that nature?
Yeah, it's really all of that. We know that people get their information in different ways, so it's important that we get out there, pretty broadly. So we've been doing some advertising. People may have seen our billboards. We do have some ads running on the radio, but we also want to connect with people one-on-one. We've been attending neighborhood association meetings, trying to go to events in the community, because we really want people to get to know Delta and who we are as a company. That's incredibly important. We're also very active on social media. We do have a website. People can go to deltautilities.com to find out more information. We have a careers page. So you asked about jobs. All of the vacancies are posted up there. And we will, continue to have a presence in the community in those ways. We're also very focused on establishing partnerships in the community. That includes different events. We have a partnership with French Quarter Fest, Satchmo Fest, some other events that will allow us to be able to be out there and engage with customers. And once the transition happens, actually be able to help people who may not have computer access to get their accounts set up.
Absolutely. And so I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, I've seen you guys' vehicles on the street already. There are trucks for Delta on the street. Did I not see that?
There are throughout our territory.
Okay.
So, but you're probably seeing the billboards, I hope.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope so.
You're seeing it.
I was like, tell me I didn't make that up.
Yeah, you should.
You've seen the truck on a billboard.
Tell me I didn't make that up. I know I saw.
That makes me happy. I'm happy that you're seeing us out in the community. That's what we want.
So we heard about this new foundation. What's the Delta Utilities Foundation, and what kind of impact do you hope it will have here in New Orleans?
One of the key parts of our mission is, to serve the communities that we live and work in. And, we're all about people. We're about our employees, and we're about our customers, and making sure that we give back to our communities, and that we want to partner in areas that are very important to the communities, whether it's building educational, creating different opportunities for the community to grow. So it's really important for us to be a partner and to be a neighbor in how we're working, whether it's New Orleans or Baton Rouge or Gulfport, Mississippi, to be in the towns that we live and work in.
Yeah, so the Delta Utilities Foundation, it's something that we're in the process of developing and we'll be rolling out later this year. And so that will we'll be able to support community initiatives around community vitality and environmental stewardship. We have some information up on the website, but people can continue to check that. And we're hoping to be able to begin accepting grant applications in the fall. So we're really excited.
And was it coincidental to kind of get the launch happening during hurricane season? Because we do know how important natural gas is. As we're approaching hurricane season and we're talking about power may not be on, how important was it to kind of align those two things, like your presence here in the wake of or in preparation for hurricane season?
Yeah, hopefully we're not dealing with that, but unfortunately we do know what that means, and it's a very critical point in time. And you're right, Dr. White, that a lot of people have turned to natural gas as a backup generation, whether it's hurricanes or whether it's power outages, and we're able to deliver natural gas in a very safe, clean, reliable manner that allows your home generators to work efficiently. I think it's very important that when people have generators installed, make sure that you have them permitted appropriately, and that you've done what you need to do to make sure that you've notified the natural gas company that you have the right meter on the size generator, and that we are able to deliver the natural gas. So, as you've done that, if you've recently installed a generator and you make sure that you've done it appropriately, you've permitted it as per specifications, and you've notified us that you have a meter in place, and we make sure that you have the right size meter for your generator. But we don't anticipate any problems. We serve thousands, hundreds of thousands of customers every day in a winter where the heating demand is the highest, and providing natural gas in the time of a power outage in the summer is much less of a demand load than the wintertime. So we stand by to provide that resilient service.
Absolutely. And Sarah, why should New Orleans residents feel confident in natural gas as a source of their energy?
Yeah, I think Tim kind of outlined that. I mean, it's incredibly reliable. Most of our infrastructure is underground, which is what contributes to that. The other thing Tim touched on, it's an affordable, source of energy, and I think it's important to talk about that and the cost savings that Louisiana families can realize with natural gas service, which includes saving up to $1,100 a year if they use natural gas service for drying their clothes, for cooking their food. So it's a very important source of energy.
Why do you think more and more people don't lean toward natural gas? Because as I shared with you off air, like I grew up on the natural gas, living with my grandmother, but everything in my home is electric. Like, why don't we lean more towards natural gas as opposed to electric?
Well, I think sometimes in newer construction, it's easier for
Not an option.
Yeah, it's easier for contractors to not necessarily install the infrastructure within a home that to allow that natural gas to be provided. But certainly anywhere within the city of New Orleans, we can provide natural gas. So, and as Sarah was saying, it is a very economical and affordable way to heat your home in the winter and to cook and to dry your clothes. So I think sometimes people make decisions when they're building a home, and we hope that they really consider in the future.
I just never thought about it, Tim. I just purchased a home and it was just kind of set up that way. But I grew up on natural gas, and I'm just wondering, why was that not an option for me as a homeowner?
Yeah. Well, I think we probably need to do some more education and make sure that people know that it is an alternative.
Because we also take for granted what we think folk know. Because I grew up with it, and it still never even
kind of resonated
dawned on me to say, why don't I use it as a source of energy as opposed to electric? Because it is more expensive to do it the way we're doing it now. I actually had a guy come out to assess my windows because they were talking about all of the energy that was being released from the seal of the,
Yeah,
it's just
which
things,
is common.
small things like that that we could make adjustments with. So
you certainly realized that you didn't have gas when you started to cook that roof for the first time, and realized it's going to be a little bit different on this electric stove.
It's a lot more, yes, because it's to me it cooks more evenly when it's a gas stove as opposed to. You know how to cook, Tim?
I do. My mama taught me well.
Because you say roof, you know how to make a roof. Like, come on, you're in there. So many people are concerned with both affordability and resilience. How does natural gas stack up in those areas?
As Sarah said,
you touched on it too, Sarah, briefly.
Yeah. From the standpoint of it's very economical. The Department of Energy has studies out there that a house in our geographic area that does have natural gas saves on average a little over $1,000 a year in energy savings. And the most important thing is our infrastructure is completely underground, unlike our power infrastructure that's above ground on poles. So when the wind blows, our service is very, very, very seldom interrupted, and we can provide that service in just about any time and any weather.
I think it's a comfort to know, especially living in a community that has to brace itself for hurricane season each and every time. I think it's comforting to know that there's a natural gas option, because I can almost assure you, Tim, all of our family goes where the person that has the gas. So we all go, we just grab everything out the freezer and put it. That's how we do it. And so it's comforting to know that even if something happens and your power is out, you still have a source to be able to eat and stay warm. And so that's working in your favor already.
Right. Yeah.
How does it feel in your role as CEO with this new business venture coming up? How does that feel for you?
Oh, we're so excited. throughout my career, I've loved to build teams, and that's what we've done. Right? We started with before the acquisitions of Centerpoint and now the Entergy assets, just putting together a group of people that could integrate these 700 employees from these two customers that ran these businesses, and just to be able to facilitate and have all this kind of come together all in the last few months is just phenomenal. And we couldn't be more excited about being here in New Orleans. I started my career in New Orleans about 30 years ago, and now to kind of have it come full circle and to be able to move back here is just wonderful.
So Delta is new, but you've been in this business for quite some time.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah.
I grew up serving utilities, and in the company that we were in before, we worked a lot in the utility space. So, like I said, we're a new company, but we're 700 people that have a lot of experience in serving utilities, and we're the same people that were providing you the service yesterday will be providing you the service tomorrow.
Well, congratulations on your new role. And Sarah, I'll ask you the same question. As the Vice President of Marketing and Communications for Delta Utilities, how do you feel about your role? Because, again, I'm certain you're new to this particular role, but you're not new to the marketing space.
I'm not.
She is not. She is a professional.
I already know.
And not new to the city. I've been here for almost 20 years,
Oh, good.
and I've been really lucky to be part of
You're
work that
Katrina
has
baby.
been
That's what I
transformational.
call my
That's
baby. She's a
Katrina baby.
Katrina baby. Yes.
I moved here about 6 months after Katrina,
Oh, wow.
and I've been part of
Yeah.
transformational work in this city, and this is no exception to that. I was really excited to come on board. I think it's just an incredible opportunity for the city, to have a multi-billion-dollar company, building, developing here, with people from around the country, but many people that are from here, that are part of the team. So I was really excited to come on board and support this effort.
Well, congratulations on your new role. And because you are the Vice President of Marketing, can you tell us, our listening audience, how can we learn more about Delta Utilities? Where can we go? Is there a website, social media
Yes.
handles? How can we find you?
Absolutely. People can visit deltautilities.com. That is our website, and there's all kinds of information up there to learn more about the company. One thing I didn't mention, Entergy Gas customers should have received, if they haven't yet, they should be receiving an email this week from Entergy, as well as a letter that talks about the transition and talks about the different programs that will require re-enrollment and what people can anticipate. We are also very active on social media, on Facebook, on X, on Instagram, and so people can find us there at Delta Utilities.
Well, thank you so much. If you missed the conversation, we were talking to Delta Utilities CEO Tim Poche and Vice President of Marketing and Communications Sarah Porteous. And Delta Utilities is a Louisiana-born, New Orleans-based natural gas utility headquartered in downtown New Orleans that provides natural gas service across Louisiana and Mississippi. Thank you so much for being here with us this morning. Thank you, Sarah, for being here. Listen, we have to go to break, but when we come back, we're going to continue to talk about it. I hope you keep listening. WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about all day long.
Hey, everybody, it's Graylin Bryant Banks.
And Kimber White Dupree.
From the front porch.
Some combos are too good to miss. Now you can pull up a chair to the front porch anytime.
Just search WBOK Media and subscribe to the Front Porch Podcast.
Download, share, and hit us with a 5-star rating because New Orleans culture deserves to be heard loud and clear.
Good morning and happy Wednesday. I'm Morgan Lentis with WDSU News, and here's a look at today's headlines. The New Orleans Police Department is investigating a shooting from overnight in Central City. It happened around 10:45 near the intersection of St. Andrew Street and Simon Boulevard Avenue. Detectives say a woman was shot. She was transported by EMS to a local hospital for treatment. There's no word on her condition at this time. Then the latest NOPD Citizen Satisfaction Survey is providing new insight into how safe people feel in the Crescent City. That survey found satisfaction with the police department went up 7 points from 40% last year to 47% this year. More than half of people surveyed say the city is safe, adding they think bringing in Louisiana State Police is having a positive impact. The legislative session in Baton Rouge comes to an end tomorrow, and before then, lawmakers will consider a first-of-its-kind bill that would criminalize law enforcement agencies that do not cooperate with ICE. The Senate will consider that measure today. And finally, the LSU Tigers depart Baton Rouge this morning, headed to Omaha in search of another national championship. Fans are encouraged to cheer them on as they leave Alex Box Stadium beginning at 9 a.m. The Tigers play Arkansas this Saturday at 6 p.m. Central Time. And that's a look at today's headlines. I'm Morgan Lentis with WDSU News. Have a great day.
Connect with NOLA Public Schools. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and X for the latest updates. Sign up for District Digest, our official newsletter where we share district achievements, celebrate student successes, and keep you informed about our vision of providing a high-quality education. And don't miss our school board meetings. Watch in person or live stream on YouTube. Stay informed. Stay engaged. Visit NOLAPublicSchools.com today. Again, that's NOLAPublicSchools.com.
The National World War II Museum. Located in the Warehouse District of New Orleans, the National World War II Museum tells the story of America's experience in the war that changed the world, why it was fought, how it was won, and what it means today. Visit them online at www.nationalww2museum.org for time tickets and safety information.
Hey, New Orleans, look for important changes to your natural gas service. This summer, Delta Utilities takes over for Entergy Gas with a Louisiana-born, Louisiana-based approach to safe, clean, reliable natural gas. No interruptions or rate changes due to the transition, just dependable service and modernized technology to keep you running smoothly. Get to know us at deltautilities.com and stay tuned for more later this summer. Delta Utilities, focused on natural gas, committed to New Orleans.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM.
Good morning, Wake Up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK.
Everybody, welcome back to the Good Morning Show. I am your host, Dr. Ashanta Wyatt. Shout out to my super producer, my non-cooking super producer, Nyron Sanders. I want to thank the folk from Delta Utilities, CEO Tim Poche, and Vice President of Marketing and Communications, Sarah Porteous, for joining us this morning, talking about Delta Utilities, the transition from Entergy natural gas to Delta Utilities. And so they'll be back. They'll be back quite often to update us on what's going on. And the reason I call my super producer non-cooking, because the folk from Delta Utilities, they left the spoon, the wooden spoon, and some little goodies. And Nyron is holding up the spoon like, what are we supposed to do with this? It's like you stir your food with it, Nyron. And then listen, you better get with the program. Them ladies gonna want you to cook a little something for them. If you can't cook nothing, Nyron, learn how to cook a breakfast, okay? Learn how to cook a breakfast. But look, we want to say thank you to our now partners over at Delta Utilities for joining us this morning. And if you are just tuning in, we're going to go backwards because we're going to update you on some conversations that we were having. We talked about the apparent missing keys from the Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office that a whistleblower is claiming belong to the Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office. The Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office responded and said, long story short, that the keys that they're in possession of does not open a jail or a cell at the Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office. And, while we're putting out this information, we want to make sure that the information is correct as it relates to public safety and security. The sheriff highlighted all of the hard work that her deputies are doing to make certain that the jail is a safe facility, and they've extended opportunities for all of the council folk to come over and visit the jail if they have any questions as it relates to public safety and security. We also talked about on the show, we talked about this idea of systems, working for all of us, not just for some of the folk who come here and make New Orleans their home, but for the people who grew here. And New Orleans has always been our home. We talked about that as well. We have a call on line 1. Good morning, Ms. Leslie. Welcome to the Good Morning Show.
Good morning, Dr. White. Enjoying the show as always. And I think one of the underlying calls for action in everything that you talk about on your show boils down to one thing, and it's getting out the vote, getting people to get to the polls and vote. So I wanted to just make everyone aware that the Orleans Parish Democrats have been partnering with the Father's Day Community Celebration, which is sponsored by a number of great sponsors in the city. But we've been out registering voters every day, and we will be this week. Myself, Michonne Copeland, who is one of our executive board members and chairs our Community Activities Committee, she secured this opportunity for us to partner in this event where on Monday we registered voters at the Lafitte Senior Center. Yesterday we were at the New Florida. Today, myself and Richard Perk will be at Gus Holmes. Tomorrow we're going to be at Marrero Commons, and then Friday we'll be back at Fisher Development. So I want to, announce this, let everybody know we're going to be there. It's great events where they have food, door prizes, free haircuts, hurricane preparedness information, and lots of things. It's really news you can use. But one thing you can definitely do is come there. We're going to be there. We're going to check your voter registration to make sure it hasn't been purged. And we're also going to go ahead and register voters if you need to be registered. And our members, Avis Brock, Jermaine Baker Fox, Darlene Joseph Jones, myself, Richard Perk, and Michonne, we've been working this effort. We're going to be there, every day this week. So I just wanted to let everybody know, please come out today at Gus Holmes from 12 to 2, tomorrow or Marrero Commons from 4 to 6, and on Friday, Fisher Development from 12 to 2.
Thank you so much, Ms. Leslie. We appreciate that information. And anytime you have any information that you believe will work to inform the masses, please feel free to call in or send it to me, and I'll share it on air. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
You're welcome. Listen, and that goes for anyone within the sound of my listening voice. If you're doing things and you need to inform the public about it's a community service, it's a community event, and you want to share it on air, I will absolutely be more than open to do so, which brings me to the New Orleans United Front. The New Orleans United Front invites you to their monthly town hall meeting, which is going to take place Monday, June 23rd, 2025 from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. at Cafe Istanbul, 2372 St. Claude Avenue in the Healing Center. I, Dr. Ashanta Wyatt, will be the moderator. Guest Chuck Perkins, who is the author of the new book, Beautiful and Ugly Too. There will also be a meet and greet of all candidates for the October 2025 election. So if you are thinking about running for office, if you've already declared yourself to be running for office, if you are anticipating running for office, this is the meeting for you. There will be a meet and greet of all candidates for the October 2025 elections. Refreshments will be served, and for more information, you could contact Miss Alicia Plummer. Her phone number is on the flyer, but if you don't have it, I don't know if she wants me to give it to, text me if you want me to say your number on air. I think I've done it before, but let me know if you want me to share your number on air. But that meeting is taking place 2372 St. Claude Avenue on June the 23rd. That is a Monday from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. So if you are a candidate for office, whether it be sheriff, city council, mayoral candidates, if you are running for office, this is a meeting for you to meet and greet the public at the monthly North Town Hall meeting happening at Cafe Istanbul, 2372 St. Claude Avenue in the Healing Center. It starts at 5 p.m. And right now, I want to turn your attention to something that I think is important. I told you I watch the news, so you don't have to. We have a local immigrant community here in the city, whether it be New Orleans, Kenner, the West Bank, wherever you are. You know, everybody calls the entire place the city of New Orleans, but we know it's not. But we have a local immigrant community here. And there's an article out authored by Jonah Gilmore. Hey, Jonah. And it's talking about the local immigrant community's fear of law enforcement, because now there is a local government that has partnered itself with ICE. And I wonder if you could drop it in the chat before I tell you what municipality has partnered itself with ICE. You got about 3 seconds. 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000. Here it goes. On the heels of the ICE raids and protests around the country, many around the New Orleans metropolitan area are concerned as law enforcement agencies are being told they must cooperate with ICE agents. It's been 2 months since Kenner Police entered a partnership with ICE. Under the 287-G program, their role is to identify and process undocumented immigrants with criminal or pending criminal charges who are arrested by state or local enforcement agencies. Here's the problem with that. We know, because we're watching in real time, the actual United States government snatch folk off the streets who are not, nor have they ever been accused of a crime, charged with a crime, have pending charges, or have been convicted of a crime. We know that that is happening. So for me, this is a slippery slope to invite. Remember, I keep telling you, we invite this energy into our communities. We're inviting these people. Now we're in partnership with ICE agents who are selling us the fallacy that this is just about undocumented immigrants with criminal or pending criminal charges. I don't know how many times that a snake gotta be a snake before you call it a snake. I don't care how often it sheds its skin. You could put lipstick on a pig, it is still a pig. They'll let these people tell you that this is about illegal immigrants with criminal or pending criminal charges, because we're watching in real time them go in to kindergarten graduations and snatch babies out of buildings. We're watching them go into schools and snatch children out of buildings. We're watching them go to college campuses and snatch students off the campus who do not have any pending charges, nor have they ever been charged with a crime. So how is it that we can trust you to tell us that this is simply about undocumented immigrants with criminal or pending criminal charges? I'm not a believer. I don't believe you. So this is what I too will say. When will the government, and there's some governmental agencies who have done it themselves, but when will the government turn the mirror on themselves for hiring undocumented immigrants? Because you see, you can go into these places and spaces looking for the workers, but who's going to talk about the employers of the illegal immigrants who you're saying don't have a right to be here? Although many of them are tax-paying American citizens, green card carrying, visa carrying citizens or residents, whichever word tickles your fancy better. Because when somebody's been here longer than 10 years, 15, 20 years, you have to call them citizens of this country, don't you? Because you could let somebody live in your house for more than 30 days and they're a resident. You got to evict them the legal way. So how is it that we're evicting people who have taken residency as citizens in this country, paying taxes, but we're partnering with ICE agents in Kenner, looking for undocumented immigrants with criminal or pending criminal charges? So exactly how will you know that they're undocumented? How will you know they're pending criminal charges? How is a person supposed to know that? So that tells me that, are we going after the employers of these people? Are we going after the people who are renting homes to these people? Are we going after the people who are picking them up from outside of Lowe's, bringing them to their homes to do work? Like, explain to me the order of operations, because seemingly going into places and spaces and snatching folks seems to be like low-hanging fruit to me. Because trust me, they wouldn't be here if they were not employable. If somebody wasn't giving them jobs, they won't be here, because that's why they came here. The land of opportunity, right? Looking to make a way for their families. And by and large, many of them are law-abiding citizens paying taxes. It's very few of them are undocumented immigrants with criminal or pending criminal charges. So what y'all gonna do for the United States citizens that are running amok in our country, committing domestic terrorism all over the place, going into schoolhouses, shooting up folk? Are we doing anything with them? Are we rallying the slave patrol for them? I'm just asking questions because I want to know. The article says, if we're, doing any type of investigation and somehow crosses our path who is here unlawfully, well, we're going to have to do what we have to do, said Kenner Police Chief Keith Conley. I want you to listen to what he said. If we're, doing any type of investigation and someone crosses our path who is here unlawfully, well, we're going to have to do what we have to do. Connolly said the program has been beneficial, touting the recent arrest of an undocumented fugitive from Tennessee who allegedly had ties to a gang. They like to tell us that. The president got on the news and made a mockery of himself, talking about, look at the tattoos, it's MS-13, and you could clearly see that they put that on there from a computer. They typed that on that man's hands themselves. They like to attach the people to gang activity, because that's the stereotype. When they are foreign, they got to be attached to some cartel or some gang. Like they call our black boys YNs. That's what we calling our children now, YNs. We now are in Kenner have a partnership with ICE. Are y'all not watching and paying attention to how these plainclothes, mask-wearing, face-covered individuals are going door to door in communities, knocking on doors, pretending to do wellness checks so they can snatch families from their homes? Are y'all not watching that? I don't know about you, but the history that I know about me and my ancestry, that don't sit right with me. That don't sit right with me. Because if you think for 1 second that they won't question your belonging to these United States at some point, that they're going to come after you, I advise you to open your eyes and pay attention. They're starting with illegal immigrants because they got to radicalize their base like that. They have to make sure that their base believes that they are ridding the country of all of the illegal immigrants that are committing all this crime. And now they're talking about the ability to send United States citizens to foreign jails for certain crimes that they're accused of committing. So you better be careful what you ask for. Because I can remember that Hispanic woman. Y'all remember her, Nara? You remember? During the election, she was jumping up and down saying, thank you, Mr. Trump. We love you, Mr. Trump. It was Hispanics for America. Hispanics for Trump. We love you, Mr. Trump. You remember her? Now she's all over the media talking about she was betrayed. And she regrets her vote. And she regrets that she forced her whole community, or I ain't gonna say forced, encouraged her whole community to vote for their own demise. Because now it's not just about illegal immigrants who are committing crimes. They don't want you here if you don't check the boxes. And many of us don't check the boxes even though we're born and raised on the same soil that murdered our ancestors. But we don't check the boxes. So maybe you should have read or believed the folk when they told you about Project 2025, because everything that is in the document is coming to fruition in order. The assault on the judiciary, the assault on Congress, the attack of United States military against United States individuals on United States soil. It's in the document. You should have read it, or you should have listened when we told you about it. Y'all keep listening, because I'm going to keep talking. We're going to go to break and hear a word from our sponsors. But when we come back, I'm going to tell you about another story that I think you should know about that's happening right here in the city of New Orleans. Stay with us. WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about all day long.
This is your news update for WBOK from WDSU. For all your news and weather, watch WDSU News, New Orleans' leader in live, local, late-breaking news. Today at noon and 4 p.m.
Welcome to Chemical of the Month by the community scientists at Rise St. James. This month, we spotlight phthalates, chemicals added to plastics, especially PVC, to make them more flexible and durable. But there's more. Research shows phthalates may disrupt hormones, affect reproductive health, and contribute to environmental pollution impacting our communities. Join us as we explore how these additives shape our everyday lives and the world around us. For more details, visit risestjames.org. Empower your knowledge with Rise.
Hey, New Orleans, look for important changes to your natural gas service. This summer, Delta Utilities takes over for Entergy Gas with a Louisiana-born, Louisiana-based approach to safe, clean, reliable natural gas. No interruptions or rate changes due to the transition, just dependable service and modernized technology to keep you running smoothly. Get to know us at deltautilities.com and stay tuned for more later this summer. Delta Utilities, focused on natural gas, committed to New Orleans.
The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation is the nonprofit organization that owns the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival presented by Shell. With the funds generated from Jazz Fest, the foundation invests in Louisiana companies through economic development, cultural enrichment, and free educational programs. To learn more about what the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation does, please visit www.jazzandheritage.org.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet, find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Hey everybody, it's Kimber White Dupree.
And it's Graylin Brian Banks from the front porch. We're coming up next.
Good morning, Wake Up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
Happy Wednesday, everybody. Listen, I wanted to make you guys aware again. I watched the news so you don't have to, about a story that is happening. And I don't know if you heard about it, but on Sunday, a 20-year-old Jamisha Selders went out in New Orleans with a group of friends, but she never returned home. According to the Coast Guard, Selders fell into the Mississippi River by the Riverwalk around 1 a.m. and has not been found since. The mother is imploring people. She says, somebody just help me find my daughter. It is important to me if I can get my daughter back with the family and get my daughter a decent burial and funeral. The mother, Ms. Duplessis, says that her final conversations with her daughter were normal. Selders even said she would be home that night. Just hours later, though, Duplessis received the worst call of her life. The Coast Guard would then spend hours searching, but to no avail. We had people out here searching with helicopters. Duplessis said it was late. They tried. We shut down at 3-something in the morning. They said they would come back out in the morning and try to find my daughter, still not getting any answers. According to Duplessis, Selders' friend said that she jumped in. However, The mother is claiming there is more to the story. She believes that her daughter was killed by those she was with. My daughter would never throw herself in the river, Duplessis said. My daughter knows how to swim, and she's not just going to throw herself in the river. She didn't have any problems. I'm assuming she's alluding to her mental capacity. Duplessis claims that some of Zelda's friends have acted suspicious since that night, such as deleting social media accounts. I mean, I got some that deactivated their Instagram page, deactivated their Facebook page, Duplessis said. I mean, if you had nothing to do with it, why would you deactivate your information? As of Monday, the NOPD is investigating the case as an attempted suicide. However, the report of the incident is incomplete. Listen, it's very scary to not know where your child is. And it's very scary to have your child go out with a group of people and she doesn't come back. You know, what I believe is that those friends, and we're going to use that word very loosely here, those friends owe that mother an explanation about the whereabouts or how this incident came to be. They owe her that much. And I'm just wondering if there's not any surveillance in that area to tell the mom what happened to her daughter. I don't know that I would be okay with not knowing where my child is. I don't know that I would be okay with you just telling me that my child jumped into water when she has no issues with that the mom knows of with mental health or anything of that nature. And if the young lady jumped in and you watched her jump in or you witnessed her jump in, like, why was that information not immediately told to the mom because the way that the story reads, it seems like the Coast Guard is the first people to call the mom. I mean, that's the way the story read. Not saying that is true. But that story brings me to tell you about another story. There's a young man. His name is Kyle. He's also missing. He is a freshman, and I'm saying is because I would love to continue to hope that this child is still in the land of the living. But he's a freshman student at Morehouse University. He went out with friends, just as this young girl did here in New Orleans. When he did not come home, his family used the Life 360 app to track his phone, and they found his phone at a salvage yard. His car, a blue Toyota Yaris, was involved in a crash the night he disappeared. The car was found abandoned. The cell phone was in the car, and that is how the police were involved, because when the car crashed, the iPhone's crash alert called 911. When the police arrived to the scene of the crash, they discovered the car, his cell phone, but they did not find Kyle. The body has not been discovered, and Kyle's parents were notified by police that they found his car, they found his phone, but they have not yet found his body. I don't know what to say about this, because it brings me back to trauma that of my own family. I have an aunt who has been missing since I was an infant. I was maybe 1, going on 2, because my little cousin was getting ready to celebrate her first birthday, and that's her mom. And she's been missing ever since. We've never gotten an opportunity to have a proper burial, a proper funeral, because we've never been able to recover her body. About 3-4 years ago, we were contacted by a national media outlet because Samuel Little, the serial killer who was on death row and was dying, and they started to document his victims. And he drew a portrait that the police, the authorities believe resembles my aunt because they published the picture. And from what I know of her, the pictures I've seen of her, because I don't know her personally, I was too young, it looks exactly like her. He was in the city of New Orleans at the time of her disappearance. He went out with a young woman, and he admitted to murdering her. And they believe that my aunt is a victim of Samuel Little, the serial killer. But my grandmother died without ever knowing where her daughter is. She died without ever having a proper funeral or burial for her daughter. And my cousin, who was getting ready to celebrate her first birthday, has gone her entire life without ever knowing her mother. She has a brother and a sister who were old enough to know their mother, but she has never known her mother. And she is now 42 years old. And so I cannot imagine with the mother and father of this young man and the mother, Ms. Duplessis, of that young lady whose body may never be recovered. We know all too well what that feels like, but I could never imagine it as a parent. So what I want to say is, see the word friend and friendship? It has to start to mean something, because if I go somewhere with you, I was raised to come back with you. If something happens, it better happen to all of us, or it don't happen to none of us. But I cannot come back home and tell my mama that I left here with my brother and I came back and I don't know where he is. That word friendship has to start to mean something. That is why I correct people every time when they go around talking about, oh, Dr. White, that's my friend. Oh, no, baby. We are not friends. Yes, we know each other. Yes, we're acquainted, colleagues, associates. But please don't invite yourself to my friendship, because it means something to me. It means something to me. There's love in my friendships. There is loyalty in my friendships. There is protection in my friendships, accountability in my friendship. My friendship would never allow me to go anywhere with you and I don't come back with you. Or I cannot tell your mother what happened to you. Those are not friends, Ms. Duplessis. The parents of Kyle, those were not your son's friends. And some of us have to be able to start to discern wolves and sheeps. Discernment, Naren, you got to have it. Or you just might find yourself on the other side of a situation where your mother is pleading with the public about your whereabouts because your friends left you somewhere or didn't think enough of you to ensure that you got back home to your family. The show has been dynamic today, y'all. And all I want to say is be careful of who you invite in, because a visitor might mistake themselves for the owner-occupant. Be careful. I want to give thanks to Delta Utilities CEO Tim Poche and Vice President of Marketing Communications Sarah Porteous for joining us this morning in studio to talk about Delta Utilities and the new business of them doing natural gas here on behalf or taking over the responsibilities of Entergy. I want to thank every caller and listener, everybody who engages in the chat. But please, if you are a praying person, pray for the family of Kyle. He's missing. Pray for Ms. Duplessis that they recover her daughter's body so that she can have a proper burial. And pray for all of the underserved, disserviced, unloved, unseen, unheard children who are walking this earth trying to find vengeance in places where there was no love. Y'all stay tuned. Up next for The Front Porch with Graylin and Kimber. As far as the Good Morning Show, Dr. Ashanta White and my super producer, Naren Sanders. We gonna see y'all tomorrow. This is WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about all day long.